What I would like to ask anyone on the panel to address is how is it that you can talk about the project or participating in the project in a way that conveys that it's a safe place to explore and it's okay to do art, that it's not that it's not something that oh, you don't need. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. That'd be great. Thanks, Adam. Mm-hmm. Great.
It took me 6 years, roughly, 6 years, to try something new like this. Beforehand, it was, I don't know, maybe the pub a little too much. Spent a lot of hours singing night away. But that didn't work out so well for me. And the art project I had got wind about through some different networks, veteran networks. And so it was something I kind of just delved into, and I didn't really have a second thought about it. It wasn't to me at all intimidating to me, but I can see how it would for some veterans who feel isolated, who feel that you know they have a lot of trauma and pain stemming from events that may have happened while during their term of service. So you know it is a big leap for someone to try something something that is experimental, I guess, is this. Mm-hmm. But what I do tell people when they ask about it, I tell them it's, you know, I can say a couple different things about it. I generally will say it is art therapy for me. I'll just kind of put it like that, because it is. Or if they're timid, I can, you know, just, you know, carefully ease them into maybe considering doing something like this by explaining that it's an experiment with the artist community and veterans, and you go and draw and you know blah blah blah. That's you know put it in that kind of a language. But so.
Great.
I would say when I first came, I was a little, I don't know, afraid, I guess, of meeting these people and talking to them. But I think the first day we had a few discussions, and like a group of family members and non-veterans got together with a veteran. I think Jameis was in my first group, and it was insanely easy to just fall into that and tell them stories that, you know, I don't even tell my own family, because they're sharing at the same time things about their families and what they've been through in being military family members. And it's pretty amazing, and it's great to see the way that everyone opens up. And I would say there should be no fear when you go into this.
Great. Yeah, JD?
When I first was in contact at the first Carol Stream kind of thing that you did, I know that I felt, and I think a lot of veterans feel, you're like, is she for real? You know, like, does she really care that much? Or, you know, because there's kind of that cynicism, you know, that you're like, nah, people don't really care. And, you know, there was no way around it. Like, she obviously cares. She, you know, you couldn't get away from it. And so then when I participated in the project, and now when I talk to people, because when I was trying to convince everyone in the club at NIU, it was a little difficult because you also run into the same thing. And it's funny because I think my brother is a perfect example. He's a Marine, and when I said, yeah, you know, the Veterans Art Project, and he goes, art's stupid, screw art. Oh, you know. And so he's hard to work on, but when I was talking to the other veterans, I found that I think that it's a lot of, like, almost, you know, when someone you know that and you trust introduces something new to you, even if it's simple, hey, go watch this movie, it's like, well, okay. And that's where I found it. You know, I found many people that were skeptical, and I'm like, no, really, you know, like, you got to check it out. At least just come and check it out. And so I think that what really happened was they're like, well, okay, you know, you're my friend, and I think you know, if you're behind it, I'll go check it out. And then as soon as they get there, they're instantly changed. I mean, we saw, you know, 4 or 5, 6, so many people on Sunday that were instantly changed just by starting to participate. And we're talking overnight kind of things. My friend Aaron, he was like, well, you know, if that's what you want to do, you know, kind of good for you. He came one night and we just started talking about what we were going to do. And the very next day, he read a friend of our stories. He participated in the project. And now he's like, you know, I want to do more. He told me just yesterday, I want to do more with the project. You know, I think this is really great. And this came from, well, I don't think I really want to do anything, but, you know, you could do your own thing. So I think just kind of letting people know, and people, once they see that people really care, they're just going to be sucked in. There's no way out. No way you can get around it.
Aaron friended me on Facebook.
But I think it helps the community, too, to understand our world. As part of this, Lisa being on the board of the National Vietnam Art Museum, we brought art up to the Milwaukee Art Museum for the first time. And we had a whole galley of art from Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, sculpture, and it's been open for 3 weeks now. And the museum director, I can walk up to a painting and I can smell the jungle. You know, how do you explain to somebody when they ask you where you were, the vacant stare in the eye, but you can see it on a painting? And the museum director said last week that that's been the most emotional exhibit they've ever had in their museum, because the community members could come up there and take a look into our world that we have a tough time explaining.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And the exhibit is there until
Sunday.
this Sunday. Okay, great. One of the, in addition to doing arts programming, we also do community discussions and performances. And one of the community discussions that we're going to be doing tomorrow at DePaul University is on witnessing veteran stories. And David, I wonder if you could speak a little bit about that, because we've been talking about using art as a way to communicate experiences to others. But what the project can also do, I hope in the future, is to help teach community members how to be present for veterans.
Sure. I think something that this project and getting to know the veterans involved and the artists involved has showed me more than anything I've ever read about it is a willingness to connect and a willingness to fill in the gaps on a very grassroots and community-based level to, and I like how you put that, not just about survival, but about well-being and enrichment. And that is, as we're looking at it, very much a community process. And so in a story being told, whether it is in a nonverbal way through a painting or a sculpture, or it's a very explicit, literally a story being told of combat or military service, we're respecting that there's two sides to that. There's the experience of that veteran who's sharing that with the community, but we talk a lot in community discussions as part of this project about what it means for the community to witness that, to be a part of that, to be present and respectful. And it really asks the community to, you know, look inside, well, at an individual level, look inside oneself and say, what is the relationship here between myself and this person sharing the story? And so we're really pulling the lens back and we're saying the community involves family members, but it involves supporters and siblings and friends. So many artists are coming to this project so eager to connect and to help build those bridges or just help that veteran share their story. So we're focusing on witnessing tomorrow. We've accumulated some tips from clinicians and veterans and people who are working in the community about, and a lot of it's really common sense things, but about being present, about being respectful, about understanding, and I think this is something I want to emphasize more than anything. You can't assume that you know where a veteran is at in terms of wanting to tell their story. One of the things I think that's very powerful, and it's been shared a bit from tonight, is that the distance between one's story and the community and a comfort in sharing it, there's a whole spectrum there. And I think that very powerful things can happen, whether that's that veteran standing up and sharing their art or their story or whatever it is directly, but also incredible power when they feel trusting enough to have that artist or that actor or somebody else tell it for them, and to be able to watch it from the outside. And I think respecting the differences and the willingness there, I think, are just really powerful things that I'm seeing, and I want to just help promote. And so we're going to be talking tomorrow about just, again, I won't go into details there. I will tell you that